Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode with your girl Audrey Codner from ACG Math Tutoring. How are you? So, yeah, time flies when you're having fun. I'm sitting here cleaning my house, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, it's 1 o'clock. Let's get started with this fun party right here. Okay, so as mentioned, we are looking at dividing polynomials. So I know some of you guys are probably working on polynomials right now, or you're revisiting so you can do well on your assessments. But it was kind of brought up last night when I was working on a topic. So I said, you know what? Let me show you both ways. So first thing I want to do with long division. So we are going to be dividing. Let me put the whole expression down. So we're going to have our r to the third plus 2r to the second minus 7r minus 12. And we're going to divide that by r. We'll start small, r plus 3. Okay. All right. Hello, Ron. Hello, everyone. Hello, Just Me. Hey, T-Troop. All right. Philip, welcome on in. Welcome in, everyone. Hey, Daryl. How are you? All right. So we are dividing polynomials. So many moons ago, in a land far, far away, we used to do division with a division sign. Remember this whole thing? With a fraction bar. Remember that? Okay, that division sign. So what goes outside is going to be your divisor. So that is our r plus 3. What goes underneath is called the dividend. So that's your r cubed plus 2r squared minus 7r minus 12. Okay, let me extend that out a little bit more. So when we break this down, we really have to understand the rules of exponents. That's going to be huge, as well as your multiplication. So I know when I do the rules of exponents, especially when we are adding. So if we're going to multiply or if we're going to divide, so let's say I had a to the 7th divided by a to the 5th. So that rule means when I'm doing division, I am subtracting my exponents. Okay, so in fact, that will give me a squared. All right. Now, when I'm multiplying and the base is the same, so I'm going to say b squared times b to the 4th. When I'm multiplying and the bases are the same, I add my exponents. Okay, so when you're multiplying, you add the exponents. When you divide, you subtract the exponents. Okay, that's something to keep in mind when you're doing division. Okay, so we're going to be doing a lot of the inverses. Hey, film artist, how are you? All right, so let's get started. We're going to take this step by step. All right. So if you're a type of person that was like, oh yeah, I know how to do this, blah, 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 blah. Answer. Great. Keep it to yourself. Because I know there's a lot of people that are like, I have never seen this, or I totally forgot all about this. Now, we're going to take our first term that's underneath our dividend, and we are going to try to figure out what times this r in our divisor is going to equal that dividend. Now, if you don't really understand the multiplication concept of that, do this. What's r cubed divided by r? That will give me r squared. Notice I put the r square over top of the r squares. You want to keep them aligned, okay? Because if you put it over here, it gets crazy, all right? So now we're going to use this r squared. So r squared times r gave us this r cubed. That's what we were looking for. Now I'm going to use this r squared, and I'm going to multiply it by the positive 3, which gives me plus 3r squared. All right? So we had to do division just to start things up. So r to the third divided by r gave me r squared. So it helps me to start the whole process up. So now I'm going to use that r squared that we found and multiply it by the divisors. That's how we got here. Okay. I actually created this notebook. It's not in TikTok shop yet, but it is on my website if you go to the profile. Yep. Now, we're going to subtract these two. All right. So when we got this r to the third minus r to the third, guess what? They cancel out. So make sure, I like to put my sign and circle it so it reminds me that I'm subtracting. Because I know for sure some of you guys saw this and said, oh, 5r squared. No. Okay, it's going to be 2 minus 3r squared. That gives me a negative 1r squared. Okay, just like division, regular division, we're going to bring down the next term. So now we got my negative 7r. And the process is going to start all over again. Okay. All right. And then the process is going to start all over again. So now, here we go. What times r will give me a negative 1r squared? Okay. So you can think of it that way, or you can say negative 1r squared divided by r will give me what? You're just learning this, Shay? I know. I know. All right. So here we go. This is going to be a negative 1r. Okay. So we got a negative 1r. Big Sky, I see you. I'm going to answer your question as soon as I'm done this thought, okay? So we have negative 1r times r, because remember, r times r gives me r squared. So I'm going to put down my negative 1r squared. Now I'm going to use this negative 1r and I'm going to multiply it to the 3 in the divisor. So negative 1r times 3 gives me negative 3r. Then this line, we are going to subtract. You're always going to be subtracting when you get to this part. Okay, good. So when you subtract, in fact, negative 1r squared minus a negative. Remember, when you minus a negative, this turns to a positive. So they're going to cancel out. So if you do this correctly, these first terms should always cancel out. So now I know right away that someone's going to tell me a negative 10r. You got a negative 7 minus a negative 3r. When you minus a negative, it's actually going to be a positive. If you want to switch it like this, you can do that. So now you got negative 7 plus 3. That gives me a negative 4r. There you go. Hey, Candy Girl. All right. So now, bringing down our next term, which is a negative 12. So we're going to do the process all over again. I know, it sounds crazy, but here we are. So what times r gives me negative 4r, or you can say negative 4r divided by r gives me what? We got our negative 4. Good. Because negative 4 times r gives me my negative 4r. Now we got negative 4 times 3 gives me a negative 12. So we're going to subtract those two. So now negative 4r minus a negative, because remember, when you minus a negative, it turns positive. So these two cancel out. Negative 12 plus a positive 12 gives me 0. And this 0 would have been, or is, your remainder. So that's what remains. So your answer, aka the quotient, put a little terminology in there, is going to be r squared minus r minus 4. Okay, so that's your quotient, your answer. All right. Okay, so let me come in and say hello to everyone. I know I was really rude, just wanted to just jump on in and get started. All right, so we got the notebook situation. Yes, so I basically designed this notebook selfishly because I do my tutoring sessions and a lot of my students do not know how to do or write notes. They just get packets from their teachers and they didn't do anything with the packets. So not only does it hold notes, it's like 100 pages of notes that we have here. Some are in the dots. Over here is on the grid side. In addition to all those, I also have my factor sheet from 1 to 200. Okay, so for kids can use it to simplify the radicals, do it for factoring, do it for simple multiplications, so they get all their factoring here. And then also some rules and regulations that a lot of people generally forget. Prime example, we were just talking about the properties of exponents. Here we go with the product rule, and here we go with the quotient rule. And then it's really geared for 7th grade all the way up to adults. Okay, so we have Pythagorean theorem and all the trig identities, volume and surface areas, as well as the unit circle. All right, so we're going to do on that. So again, if you just click on my picture, go to the profile, go to my website, you'll see it. It's called the Ultimate Math Notebook. All right, now going back to the other question. So big sky, repeating over and over. How is this, how does it apply to life? I think that's what you said. When do you ever use this after high school or college? Well, it all depends on what trade you're going to go into. So here's my thing. We as human beings, we change our careers. In the normal, we change our careers like 10 times in our lifetime. Yes. By average, they did like a whole research on it about, I think it was like 2014. They did research of like how many times people change their careers. And they say by average is 10 times. So if we're going to be flipping around, 1 minute, you know how kids are. I want to be an architect. The next minute, oh, I want to be a famous singer. The next minute, oh, I want to sell ice cream. You know how they change their minds all the time. So do we. So what else to have you better prepared to see some of these concepts, right? Other than going into a situation and saying, I have never seen this a day in my life. I'm starting to see, and I heard one of my former students applied for a receptionist, and there was algebra on the interview. Algebra. They had this girl doing, right. So now they're starting to add math problems into the interview process. And that could have been the job. If she didn't know, because we've been working together for a minute, she probably would have never gotten the job. And you were thinking, you're just answering phones. What do you need to know algebra for? But now people are putting that as a skill set. So I'd rather, me personally, maybe I'm just being selfish, I'd rather you get an idea of what is it, like I've seen it before, and you're tweaking your thinking versus what the hell is this, and then you're just moving on, okay? So that's why I kind of do that. Yeah, they better not. They already are. Is this good for TSI? If TSI is the nursing, I don't know if they have dividing polynomials. I know multiplying polynomials and adding polynomials, they'll put that for the algebra piece, yes. But I'm not sure. All right. Instead though, yes, trust me. I'm going to be showing dividing polynomials 3 ways. Okay, so I want to do one more time with the long division. Then I'm going to use the synthetic division, which everyone loves. And I'm also going to be working on the grid method. Okay, so I got you. I got you. Trust me. Okay, how can you get the notebook? If you click on my profile and you go to acgmathtutoring.com, okay, that's my website. There is a link within there that will take you straight to Amazon. I know. I'm working on the self-publishing. Just work with me. But if you want to get it right now, you can get it through Amazon. Actually, I'm going to have to order up myself because book 4 is going to be calling us. So, yes, you can go that route to get it. And if you guys want copies of my notes, I'm actually selling that. You'll see that on the website as well. All of this is book 3 right now, but book 1 and book 2. And if you want to pre-order book 3, you can. And what I do, and let me show you this real quick before we get to the next session. Let's say, for example, here's a page of one of my notes. Okay, let me move this book out of the way. Okay, so this is exactly what was happening during the live. And what I do is I add a QR code and also a link so you can just scan it and it will take you directly to the live that's connected to my notes. So not only are you getting the notes of how I do things step by step and sometimes the steps that I offer, you're also getting the live version that's connected to that. So that's on my website. So book 1, it has like over 80, I think it was 85 pages for book 1, 85 pages for book 2, and we're climbing that same way for book 3. So, yes. Okay, so, yep, I'm going to be teaching all 3 ways. Gotta teach it now. All right, here we go. Okay, so if I have another, so now I'm going to make this a little bit busier. So I'm going to say my divisor is going to be 6x minus 8. And my dividend is going to be 6x cubed minus 56x squared plus 106x minus 57. So now, the one thing that is a little different is that my divisor, it is still a binomial, but this time I have a coefficient in front of my variable. The process is still the same, okay? The process is still the same. So now I'm going back. I'm starting with my first term. So 6x cubed divided by 6x will give me 1x squared, or just x squared. And notice where I line that bad boy up. Okay, 6 divided by 6 gives me 1. X to the third divided by x gives me x squared. Now, we're going to use this x squared to multiply with our divisor so we can put it underneath our dividend. So x squared times 6x gives us our 6x cubed. Okay, that's not a shocker because we used the 6x cubed to get the x squared, right? So now x squared times negative 8 gives me negative 8x squared. And like we mentioned earlier, we're always going to subtract this line. Okay. All right, so far we're all good. I know, Jonah, I know. You're synthetic. All right, so now we have, I know for certain, someone's going to say negative 56 minus 8. Okay, and that's my answer of like 64. No. Negative 56 minus negative 8. So that's the same as saying 56 plus 8. Because when you minus a negative, it turns positive. Okay? So if we have that negative 56 plus 8, that gives me a negative 48 x squared. And then what happens, we bring down the next term. Process starts all over again. So we can say what times 6x gives me negative 48x squared, or negative 48 divided by 6, that'll give me a negative 8. And x squared divided by x will give me x. So negative 48x times 6x gives me a negative 48x squared. That's not a shock. But then we're using that negative 8x times negative 8. That gives me a positive 64x. And we're subtracting. So when we subtract, the negative 48x squares are going to cancel out. So now you got 106 minus 64, 42. So we got 42x because it was 106x minus 64. Then we're going to bring down, let's stick with this one, the next term, which is a minus 57. Okay, process starts all over again. So what times 6x gives me 42x? That will be a positive 7. I wanted to double check on that sign. And then we have our 7 times our 8, which gives us a negative 56. Then we subtract. Okay. All right. So now we have negative 57 minus a negative 56. So when you minus a negative, it turns positive. So negative 57 plus 56, that'll give me my negative 1. And the negative 1 is your remainder. Now, how we incorporate the remainder for your quotient, you're basically adding it on. But this remainder is coming from your divisor. So if you want, you can say plus negative 1 over 6x minus 8. Or you can also incorporate that negative and just make it minus 1 over 6x minus 8. So your answer will be this. Okay. All right. Are you enjoying this? We try to keep it nice and fun and light around here. You know, I was like, and my thing is, it's like, I know this is not everyone's favorite, but here's the thing. I didn't put a gun to your head for you to stop here. You know, like, it just cracks me up. They're like, why are you here? Why are you doing this? And I'm like, do not. You can keep scrolling. You have the powers within you. Right. Okay. And that's fine. You know, just following along. Can I have a fraction in the final answer? Yes, you can, Kevin, because you're going to have to, especially when it comes to the having what's left over is in the divisor. It's kind of like, think of it this way. I know it's hard for me to say this because there's a lot of people that don't do this concept anymore. It's like writing a check. I know, I just dated myself. When you write a check, at the very end, you have to put the cents. And the cents is out of 100. It's because you're basically dividing your money out of 100. Okay? So when you write a check at the very end, you have to incorporate the cents, which is something out of 100. Okay? Not today with the logs. But here's the thing. If you go to my YouTube channel, see, I'm sending you guys everywhere. Okay? When you go to my YouTube channel, Audrey Codner, ACG Math Tutoring, all my lives, all the lives that I started since February the 5th is on my YouTube channel. Okay? Every single one. From the first one when I was scared crapless to, I'm on live all the time. Okay? They're all there. So I know logs, when I was expanding it, it's there as well. Okay? You're welcome. So take a look there. Go ahead, subscribe. I just put out last night's is up. So last night when we were working on domain and asymptotes. Okay, so we were having fun with that. All right. Now, this was long division. Okay, this is how you would do it long division. I'll go through the steps again. 1, you start with the first number, and then you try to divide it with the first term of your divisor. Put that up as your quotient, and then use that to multiply your divisors to put the next round in. Subtract, and then repeat. Okay, it's just like washing your hair. Shampoo, rinse, repeat. If you want to get that extra fluff. Don't wash too often. Okay, now we're going to go in with, it's not fake division, it's synthetic. You know, just like how synthetic, you have the nice little hairstyle. But you know you can only wear it for so long before it looks all kinds of crazy and mangled. So yeah. Now, with synthetic division, it's basically taking your divisor. So if we take a look at our divisor. So your divisor is x minus k. Now, your number that's representing your k, if I have a divisor that's x minus 5, that means my k is going to be a positive 5. Okay? If I say x minus 5, that means my k is going to be a positive 5. Because notice the sign didn't change. Right? But if I said x plus 5, that means my k is going to be a negative 5. Because in order for a negative to turn to a positive, that means it was a negative times a negative. Negative times a negative will give me positive. Let me show you. So if you have your x minus a negative 5, that's what this is saying. When you minus a negative, it turns positive. So the easiest way for me to explain this is when you're about to use your divisor, write down the opposite of what you see. So if I see x minus 5, I'm going to pull aside just a 5. Okay? If I see x plus 7, I'm pulling out a negative 7. All right? Now, let's take a look. So let's say I'm using, let me see if I can get something with all my degrees. So let's say that we want to divide. We have, I'm going to just write k to the 4th minus 9k to the 3rd plus 24k squared minus 20k plus 11. We're going to divide that. No, I'm running out of room. Whoop. We're going to divide that by k minus 4. So instead of setting up my division bar that we've been doing, I'm basically setting a little house, nice little house. This is where my divisor is going to be. And then the dividends are going to be up here. Okay. All right. Got you in a second, Kevin. So, right here, I see k minus 4. So my divisor that I'm pulling out is going to be a positive 4. So when I want to get my dividend, I don't have to copy this whole entire thing down. All I need are the coefficients of those terms. So let's say I want something for x to the 4th, I want something for x cubed, I want something that represents x squared, that represents x, and that represents my constant. So what represents my k to the 4th power, I know I used x, I'm supposed to use k's, is a 1. Okay, so we're just looking at the coefficients, is a 1. The coefficient of k to the 3rd is a negative 9. The coefficient of k squared is 24. The coefficient of k is negative 20. And my constant is 11. All right. So, before we get to the meat and the potatoes of it, the reason why I would use synthetic, or when I would use synthetic division, is if I'm trying to find all my zeros of a quadratic, so of a polynomial. So I'm trying to find all my roots. I'm going to put them into little itty bitties of factors. So I'm going to show you in a second what I'm talking about. So first term comes completely down. Okay, so the first term always comes all the way down. So now here, what we're going to do, we are going to multiply the divisor with the term that you have below. So 4 times 1, that gives me 4. And I'm going to put the answer underneath the next term. from here, we're going to add. So negative 9 plus 4 gives me negative 5. So as we multiply again, we're doing the process again. So 4 times negative 5 gives me negative 20. Then we have to add. 24 plus negative 20 gives me 4. So now we got 4 times 4 gives me 16. So when we add again, negative 20 plus 16 gives me negative 4. And 4 times negative 4 gives me negative 16. And when I add these two together, I got a remainder of negative 5. Okay. All right. Oh, well, don't quit college because you failed 3 times. Hell, I failed the praxis 11 times. Hey, it's going to take practice. And then plus you got to understand, when you're in a college class, you're given 10 to 12 weeks to learn almost what most people will be given the opportunity to learn in 1 year. Give yourself some grace. All right. So what we just found, you're like, well, okay, they look very colorful. So we basically have our answer right here. I want to, since we took one of our terms away, or one of our degrees away, this is going to be 1 less. So that's going to be our x, not squared. Got a little crazy. That'll be our x cubed. This will be our x squared. This will be our x. This will be our constant. So we always do 1 less. That means this is my remainder. So our final answer for this, which I'm going to shift over here, is x cubed minus 5x squared plus 4x minus 4 with the remainder of negative 5 over our divisor, which is originally k minus 4. This would be our answer. So the next example I'm going to use is one of the problems that we did with long division, so you can really see this. That's what I really should have done. Okay. True, Kevin. It does depend on the professors too. Yep. Yes. There you go. I love the motivation that's going on in here. Thank you. All right. So. All right. Oh, thank you. All right. Love this. Yes, it should be K's, not X's. I know. My obsession. My obsession with K's. Let me quick change. Thank you. It's almost like it never happened. It is almost like it never happened. It's a little scary. All right. Thank y'all. All right. So let's take a look All right, so I want to use... Now, here's the thing. I don't really have that much of a choice. I can only use synthetic division. See, all good things have limitations. I can only use it when my divisor does not have a leading coefficient larger than 1. Okay? The leading coefficient of that divisor has to equal 1. That's the only time you can do synthetic division. But I will show you with the next one that it doesn't matter if the divisor is positive, negative, if there's a number in front, and so forth. But I'm going to use this first one that we did, and I'm going to show you through synthetic. So if we have... So let me rewrite it for you real quick. So we have r cubed plus 2r squared minus 7r minus 12. And that was being divided by r plus 3. All right. So inside my tiny little house, okay? We always do opposite what we see. So it was r plus 3. That means out here should be a negative 3. Now we're going to write the coefficients of all the terms. So we know our first term is r to the third, r to the second, r, and then our constant. So r to the third is 1. R to the second is 2. R to the third is a negative 7. And our constant was a negative 12. Okay. Bringing down the first term. Don't ask me why it's so much space, but here we are. So this first term always comes down. Okay, it's okay. All right, so we're going to work it slightly step by step. So now we multiply these two. So negative 3 times 1 gives me a negative 3. And we put the answer underneath the next term. Once we do that, then we add them. So what's 2 plus negative 3? Good. We got a negative 1. Do we believe it? Do we agree with Hala? Sorry, I was about to sneeze. Because I do. So 2 plus negative 3, that gives me negative 1. I have $2. I want to buy something that's $3. I am short $1. Okay, good. So now multiply. Negative 3 times negative 1, that will give me a positive 3. Add those two together. Negative 7 plus 3 gives me what? Okay, I explained that earlier. Where were you? Negative 4. All right. So negative 3 times negative 4 gives me what? So negative 3 times negative 4, give me what? Good. Okay, a negative times a negative gives me, Candy Girls got it. A negative times a negative, remember guys, gives me a positive. So it'll be a positive 12, okay? When the signs are the same when you're multiplying or dividing, your answer is always positive. So now when I add these two up, it will give me 0. Okay, yep, no problem. We just make the adjustments, we're okay. All right, this is a safe space. I think it's a safe space, but you know, that's just me. This is why I try to take things step by step. So you basically have your answer here. And remember, if we started off with r to the third, that means down here we should be dealing with r to the second, 1 degree less. So that means this is going to be r to the second, this is going to be r to the first, or just r, and then this will be your constant, and this would have been your remainder. So the solution for this is going to be r squared, or 1r squared, minus 1r, or just minus r, minus 4, with no remainder. So that's going to be your solution. If we take a look at the one that we did earlier, we have our r squared minus 1r minus 4. We get the same exact answer. I wish I could do a split screen, but I can't. Okay. All right, good. Hey, Kayla. All right. So the synthetic division only works for, and I'm actually going to put this on top of here. Okay, so it only works for x minus k divisors. All right, only works for x minus k divisors. So it's nice to have it. It's nice to be awesome. And I know a lot of people said, yo, just do synthetic division. Yes, if you do not have a coefficient in front of your variable in the divisor, yes, definitely. But if this example here, we had a coefficient in front of the x in the divisor. So you can do long division, or you can do our next one. I know, it's all about dividing, and you can divide 3 different ways. So the next one is basically using what's called the grid method. All right, so let me shoot down here for some of the steps. So if you want to screenshot that, you can screenshot it, do it now, because I will be taking it down after I finish explaining. All right, so first we're going to draw a grid, okay, based on the number of terms in the dividend and the divisor. Then we're going to place the divisor onto the side, and then we're going to start with the first term of the dividend. I'm going to show you all this step by step. Just want you to have this in here. Once you do that, you're going to start dividing the divisor, and then you're going to use the answer to fill the next box below. Then you're going to take a look at the second term and fill in what is added to equal that box. Then we're going to repeat that process. And you're probably saying, I didn't know you were bilingual, Audrey, because I didn't understand that. Not one bit. Okay. All right. So, what's this? 1, -1, degree 0. Okay. Oh, yeah, that was the last one. All right. So, I'm going to walk you through step by step with our... All right, it's going to have to be small, unfortunately, but hopefully you guys will be able to still see it. All right. So we're looking at, we want to find that quotient. So we have 12x cubed minus 4x squared minus 29x minus 14 is being divided by 3x plus 2. So since the severity of this, I feel confident in myself, but I'm going to break out the pencils. All right, so I know right here, I'm going to have 2 rows. The reason why I know I'm going to have 2 rows is because I have a binomial that's being divided. And the binomial is going to be off to the side. So I'm going to have 2 rows. Now here, I'm going to use this first term, but it has 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to draw 4 columns. And one of those columns is just going to be for my divisor. So this is what it's going to look like. So I'm going to draw over here. I'm going to have my 2 rows. But then I'm going to have, here's 1 column. Here's 2 columns. 3 columns. We'll put it right in between. And 4th column right here. All right, so I'm going to draw this nice little box. And I probably overshot here. I had a feeling. And then up here, I'm going to draw a nice little box here. And a little box here. So then here, I'm going to go kind of like in between. All right, because what's going to go up here, and you're like, well, Audrey, that's 2 rows. True. My divisors are going to go here. So this is 3x and plus 2. My dividend is going to go up here. But we're going to start, because this is going to kind of help us fill in the boxes. The first item that goes in, and I'm going to put this in blue, is my 12x cubed. So we take the first term of my dividend to put into the box next to the divisor. Okay? If you want, stop what you're doing and just watch. Okay? Now, I have to ask myself, just like if I was doing long division, okay, what times 3x will give me 12x cubed? Okay, so this is what I'm asking from you. Or you can say 12x cubed divided by 3x will give me what? Okay, so I got 4x squared. Okay, Michael R, 4x squared. Okay, Chino. Oh no, Chloe. Sorry, that's an L. 4x squared, good, real, 4x squared, excellent. So that's coming up here, my 4x squared. So now, to fill in this box, I'm going to use this 4x squared, and I'm going to multiply it by 2. Okay, so 4x squared times 2 will give me what? Okay, make sure it's times. So I got, Chloe says 8x squared. Do we agree with Chloe? So 4x squared times 2 gives me what? Yep, exactly. So that's exactly what's happening. Exactly to a T. Okay. Yes. All right. So we have our 8x squared. All right. This is where it gets a little tricky. So now we are done with this first term. Where's my little piece of paper? Okay, we'll use this one. So we're done with this first term. Now we're looking at the next term. And in order for us to figure out the next term, we need to figure out right here on the diagonals. So something being added to 8x squared to give me a negative 4x squared. So what plus 8 will give me a negative 4? Yes. Okay. Okay, real's good. Negative 12. Excellent. So negative 12 plus 8 gives me negative 4. But they have to have the same variable and exponent. So it's going to be negative 12x squared. So negative 12x squared plus 8x squared gives us our middle term of negative 4x squared. So that's helping us do the process all over again. So now I need to figure out what goes up here. So I can say, what is negative 12x squared divided by 3x to give me blank? Or what times 3x gives me negative 12x squared? Okay. All right. So JWY saying negative 4. Real saying negative 4x. Lois negative 4. G Boston negative 4. Negative 4x. Good. Negative 4x. Hala Gail negative 4x. Claude negative 4x. Good. So negative 4x. Okay. So now I'm going to use this negative 4x times 2 to fill inside this box. Okay, no problem, Candy Girl. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate you. Okay. All right. Positive or negative, Chloe? So Lois got negative 8x. G Boston, negative 8x. Negative 8x for C. Okay, Betty, negative 8x. Okay, good, Chloe. There we go. So negative, Andy, negative 8x. Good. Norma, negative 8x. Awesome. I see you guys. I see you working. Good job. Thank you, Jose. Appreciate it. All right. So now, here we go in the diagonal again. So what plus negative 8 will give me a negative 29? Okay, so to fill this block, we got to say what plus negative 8 will give me a negative 29. Sorry, I had to do the puzzle piece thing. Okay, real say negative 21. Betty, negative 21. Andy, negative 21. Andy, negative 21x. Ooh, look at you. Okay, C, negative 21. Chloe, negative 29. Careful, Chloe. Lois, negative 21x. There we go, Chloe. Negative 21x. Gregory, negative 21. Awesome. So we're putting our negative 21, as y'all said, x. Because in order for us to combine those two, they have to be the same terms. Okay, they have to have the same variables, same degree. So what would go in this box up above? Okay, what do you think will go in this box up above? So what times 3x will give me negative 21x? Okay, Lois, negative 7, negative 7, negative 7. Look at all these people, negative 7, baby, good. Negative 7, negative 7. Okay, good. Kevin, negative 7. Norma, negative 7. All right, excellent, guys. And it's not negative 7x because the 21 already has the x. The 3 already has the x. If I multiply those two together or divide them, it will give me the excess, but we don't need that. So now, what goes in the empty box? Yes, no x. Good. What goes inside the empty box? Okay, negative 14 real is saying. Real. Okay. Close saying 14. Okay, we got the battle right now. Pepsi versus Coke, which is better? Okay, we got negative 14, bet, negative 14. Okay, Chloe went back to the dark side, negative 14. All right, good. So we got negative 14. So now, if you notice, okay, the only thing that can give me negative 14 is going to be 1, and I don't need that. I don't need that as a placeholder. Once we get to this spot, this should look like your last digit. If it doesn't, that means you might have to add on, okay? Or whatever is left over is called your remainder. So in this case, we don't have a remainder. So it looks weird, but your answer, your quotient, is up above, right here. Just like if I were to do long division. It's taking the concept of when you multiply, like doing the box method for multiplying polynomials, and you're basically doing the inverse. Because normally we multiply to fill in the boxes, right? But we're doing it in reverse. Because we know the diagonals, we usually have our like terms, we add those two together. Okay. All right. Well, hello. You can tap on my profile. If you go to my ACG Math Tutoring, my website, there is a page that says the Ultimate Math Notebook. Okay, you will actually be buying it off of Amazon. I am working on getting self-published soon so I can start selling it on TikTok Shop. So we're in the making of it. Okay. The long division method. Okay, I'll try to do it like a quickish, little quickie. All right, so if you're dividing, here's your quotient. So the first thing that you're doing, if you divide these two, just like how we did in the box method, you'll get your r squared. We're going to take that r squared and you're going to multiply it to everything in your divisor. So r squared divided by or times r gives me r cubed. R squared times 3 gives me 3r. Then you subtract. Repeat over again. Okay, so what times r will give me negative r squared? That's your negative 1. Okay. The last method, they just call it using the grid method. Just long division using the grids, right? Yep, that's it. So then you take your negative r, multiply to everything in the divisor. Negative r times r, like someone mentioned, is r squared. Negative r squared, don't forget the signage. Negative 1r times 3 gives us our negative 3r. And we're always subtracting. That's how this was able to cancel out. When you minus a negative, it turns positive. That's why there's a plus sign there. So negative 7r plus 3r, that's where the negative 4r came from. Then you do the process again. Negative 4 times r, okay, gives us our negative 4r. Negative 4 times 3 gives us our negative 12. And then you'll get your 4r plus 12, because when you're subtracting, you're making a minus a negative. That turns plus, and we had 0 as our remainder. Okay? All right. Yes, I know. It's all kinds of funky, right? All right, not a problem, Kevin. Have a good day. All right, so I'm going to try one more with the dividing polynomials, and we're going to take it from there. So let's see. Let's see if we can do one Let's see if we can do one that we already did so we can kind of do a comparison. I'm going to use this one that we already did so we can do a comparison. So we have our, might as well just do our boxes, just kill it out of the way. So we have our two terms here. So we're coming here. So we have this as a column. There's one. Here's two. Getting kind of crazy with the lines. 3, 4. And I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So then we swung it over here. We'll just keep it kosher here, and I'll just get rid of the excess. As I'm like shaking you guys up like you're in a milkshake right now. Yeah, milkshake creams are the bossy, y'all. All right. So the first one, we had two terms. And my divisor, it was 6x. And this was a minus 8. And then up here, we had 6x cubed minus 56x squared plus 106x minus 57. Okay, so that was being divided by 6x minus 8. All right. Move this up a little bit. There we go. All right. So we always start with the first term right here. So that 6x cubed is starting us off right here. Okay. So from here, we got to think. 6x cubed divided by 6x will give me what? Oh, so if you put it over the divisor, whatever your divisor is. Okay, so we have 1x squared. Thank you, Hala. Good. G Boston, good. All right, so Blue Girl, remember, 6 divided by 6 will give us our 1. Okay, so now we're going to use that x squared, and we're going to multiply by the negative 8. So this will give us, no problem, negative 8x squared. All right. So now, so we're done with that first term. If you want to cross it out, you can cross it out. So now I'm looking at negative 56. So what plus negative 8 will give me a negative 56. And it definitely will still be an x squared. Okay? Plus, not multiplying. It's going to be added. Okay, so what plus negative 8 will give me negative 56? Because remember, we have to add. Okay? Saying negative 48? Yes. No problem, G. Here we go. I know, we're so used to multiplying, it just kicks in there. All right, so we're saying 48. 48. Okay, good. So this is actually going to be a negative 48. Because negative 48 plus negative 8 gives me a negative 56. And make sure that they have the x squares. Okay, so now we're going to work in reverse. Negative 48x squared divided by 6x gives me what? What should go inside this top box? Good. Should be positive or negative. So we are agreeing with positive 8x. Okay, negative. Okay, there we go. Negative, right. When the signs are different, your answer is going to be negative. So negative 8x. Now we're going to use that negative 8x to multiply with the negative 8. So what should go inside of this box? Okay. So G Boston saying 64x. Good. Blue Girl saying 64. We're bringing the x with it. Good. Because a negative times a negative gives me a positive. 8 times 8 gives me 64. And there is my x. Okay. So now we're done with the x squares. Now we're working on the x's. So what plus 64 will give me 106? So negative 42. Michael R. saying 42. Okay, switch it up to positive 42. Andy 42. Hollow 42. Good. So we got our 42. Just need the x. So we're done with that. So 42x divided by 6x will give me what? What should go inside this top box? Lynette! I missed you this week. How was science camp? How was camp? Did you make friends? Lasting long relationships. Did you learn some camp songs? What we got? So yes, it is a 7. So now, what goes inside of this box? On the bus to go home? Yes. I know. Freedom, right? Good, G. There we go. So we got our negative 50. There we go. Negative 56. Not quite 57, but 56. All right. Now, here's the thing. We always said that this spot should equal this last term. But it's not. Okay. All right. Talk to you later. Okay. So it's not matching up. So that means we have a difference here. So we might have to add another little section. So we need to think, what plus negative 56 will give me negative 57? Okay, good. Minus 1 is missing. So that means this minus 1, that's my remainder. because I don't have any more digits other than that negative 57. That's it. So my answer, yes, this is my quotient up here, just like how I have on the other one. But that means I have this remainder that I need to attach as well. So overall, my grade is going to be x squared minus 8x plus 7. But I'm going to add on the remainder, which is negative 1. So if this answers your questions here. So negative 1 over the divisor, which is 6x minus 8. Okay. So this is your official answer with the remainder. All right. Okay. So there's 3 ways of dividing polynomials. I know, it can get kind of crazy, but it takes practice, all right? So please, don't think that, oh, I had to be a huge expert and all this stuff. You got options, right? So if your divisor has a number in front, it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. You can still use this grid method for both. But if you do not have, that'll work for anything. But if you do not have a number in front of the x in your divisor, you can do long division, you can do this grid method, or you can do synthetic division. Okay? Because if I may, it's going to be hard for me to do, but let me see if I can unzoom a little bit. Not much. Okay? So if you notice, the answer over here and the answer here was exactly the same. Okay, so you can do long division. In this case, you got long division and grid to do with this problem. But if you don't have a number as a coefficient for the divisor, you can use synthetic. Okay, synthetic kind of helps, especially when you're trying to graph polynomials when you only have maybe like one of the roots. You can use synthetic to help you find the other roots. Okay. Well, Blue Girl, you were doing good. You just turned 80. Well, hello. Good job. Yeah, I know. It does. It helps. It does help. And it's like, if you don't practice it, it does venture. And I've noticed that as a tutor, that it seems like I'm getting better at things because now students are like, how do you do this? And how do you do that? So I like to give options. Now, is this a GED type question? No. Okay. But is it a college algebra question? And some of you guys are taking your finals this week? Yes, I know this for sure. Okay. So dividing polynomials, either the grid method, long division, or synthetic. And most of them will give it to you almost like you can do synthetic. You know, some of them are not too harsh when it comes to this problem. All right. So again, thank you. Tap away. All right. If you like how things were set up in this notebook, I actually designed this notebook. Tried to put it in a way where you can actually have your formulas in one section and then you can write down your steps of how to on the other. I like to do a little dots because I love how the graphing is so much cleaner with the dot side. And then also you have for the traditional grid side. And in addition to the pages, you can also use my factor charts. I'll put some resources in the back. It's a little more, it's a lot more advanced than what you will get in a composition notebook, okay? So this is really designed for those kids that are taking algebra 1 all the way up to college algebra, and even the intermediate algebra courses that they're having in community colleges. Give you some reminders of the rules of integers for adding, subtracting, and multiplying, and also the multiple used words and terms for most word problems, just so you can figure out how to break it down. order of operations, the properties of exponents, looking at linear and quadratic right here from slope all the way down to the quadratic formula and discriminants. Then we have some geometry in here. I'm currently working on just doing a notebook just for geometry. Trust and believe, it is problem. I will be celebrating like there's no tomorrow once I'm done with that. All right, then you have Pythagorean's theorem, SOHCAHTOA, anything dealing with those right triangles. We also have some trig identities to help out with that. Then you have your volume and surface area, as well as finding the area of the sector, arc length, and also the equation of a circle. Yes, especially when you're getting into geometry and also some parts of Algebra 2. And in the gist of all that, the unit circle. All right, so all that's in there. And I also add a couple activities for brain breaks because we all just need a little moment sometimes. So this is definitely going to be on sale. Working on transitioning it into a notebook. You either have this as the cover or you have this as the cover. And I do have one designed for 4th through 6th grade. Okay, 4th through 6th grade, a little bit here. What's different is I use more math tiles to kind of help them line their numbers up. Okay, it can go younger for this. I was just shooting for 4th through 6th because of the resources that I have in the book. So they as well get the factor sheet. And then I get more definitions with fractions, get some representations that you can use for hands-on activities. This will be great for the summer. So for hands-on activities, try to figure out what you need to do, some fraction operations, and then also the transitioning. A lot of this stuff will be put into my newer book. And then we have place value, also decimal operations for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, as well as how to do long division. Because guys, a lot of teachers, once this got into the classroom, some people are not doing long division. But as you can tell, we just did an example. People think it's one and done. Nope. Just like hot pants, it comes back. Right? So now they're going to have to figure out long division at one point in time. So even with the pandemic, we're still basically coming back from that. And we were a little bit behind before the pandemic occurred. Okay, but no matter what, that whole concept is going to come back. So make sure that we have the kids or the young adults understand where all this stuff is coming from, as well as rounding, okay? Estimating, rounding. Let's figure all that out. Then the conversion charts, you see this a lot. Now, if you guys are into nursing and you want to know how to do your dosage calculations, because you're going to be doing a lot of conversion, you can definitely go see my friend, a Blessed RN. I definitely want to follow her, a Blessed RN, because she does great stuff with that. My friend Evelyn, she should be live right now, because I'm going to wrap myself up. If you want to do some work with the ASVAB or GED math, she's from Impact Math 19. And then my friend over at Professor TK, she usually goes live on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. And then my friend Lynette that was just here, she's probably traveling along somewhere. She teaches how you can add, subtract, multiply, divide using the abacus. Like, she is basically transforming the whole concept of math and really putting in your hands. So if you're like a homeschool parent, or if you're just a parent, or you're a teacher and you really want to learn, maybe you're a parent that want to teach your kids how to do more tangible math, this will be definitely a person that you need to see. And she has books on TikTok, but definitely go see her lives. And I think she's going to be coming back on live maybe tonight, but definitely, I guess, tomorrow. She had to go to science camp with their kids. So All of this, all these references, all the areas and perimeter, all those formulas that everyone's like, oh, there's so much formulas that I gotta memorize. You don't have to memorize them anymore. They're all wrapped up in one book. And then something for the kids to do their brain breaks with. Okay, maybe even a little bit. All right, so this is gonna be for the fourth through sixth grade. Your younger kids can do some as well. And then we have my books that I also have on sale. If you want the notes, I know I feel like I'm selling everything. Replay on YouTube. Yes, definitely. So, and that's another thing. So much stuff. It's like, here, take all this information. Because I don't see too many people just willingly give information. It's like, oh, you have to be a subscriber in order to get this. You gotta be a subscriber in order to get this. And I'm like, dude, I'm just practicing going on TikTok and we're seeing what sticks. So all of my lives, and it's going to take me a little time, but I will be able to put it up this afternoon, actually. Depending on if TikTok works with me. You can go to my YouTube channel, Audrey Codner, ACG Math Tutoring. Go ahead and subscribe. It's a free subscription. Go onto YouTube. All right, so you can get all my videos that I created since February the 5th. And that's all on there. And it's listed in a playlist called TikTok Lives. I know, it's really inventive. we just went real deep with the name, just in case you don't know where it's at. All right. And if you feel so inclined that you like my tutoring, I do one-to-one tutoring. You can leave me a Google review. Starting to get people taking the ASVAT. 3 people this week. I got a third one yesterday that passed the ASVAT. So there's something I'm doing that's working. And not only pass it, but like really getting up there. His score was a 74. And that was the very first time he's taken it. And he was a pretty decent, I think he's a strong math person, but he doesn't. So it took me a lot of convincing. But if you want to start a course, and I've noticed a lot of you guys are going back to school and you're feeling a little disgruntled because the pace of the course is going so fast, I do have an on-demand course for GED, Accuplacer, ASVAT, and also Foundational. So you can go to my website to take a look at that. If you need a math tutor and you're just summing things up, maybe you're still in school and you're just, have to do all this makeup work, or you have a test and you need to do well on that test, or you're getting ready for your finals, please don't hesitate to reach out. All you have to do is just DM me and I'll actually respond back to you during the same day, and then we'll take it from there. All right. So again, Audrey's notes. This is what the cover looks like. All up in your face. Okay, so you can actually get a copy of my notes that I use on my lives. Because if you look at your notes and you look at my notes, you're like, I don't remember where that came from. Not only do you get to look at the notes, you actually get to scan the QR code that is connected to that live. And then you can use the notes to follow along. Use it as an answer key. Look at my steps. Okay, so everything step by step. All you have to do is scan or click, and it'll take you right to that live. And it'll break down concepts one at a time, okay? Just like how I do here. And of course, anything that you need to pause, you can pause. Anything that you need to go in reverse, you can go in reverse, okay? So all of them are color-coded. They're just scanned directly from my notebooks. And if you do like my notebooks, you can just click on the link on my website, and it'll take you directly to Amazon. There are 3 different covers. Okay, I'm going to order the 3rd cover so I can actually show you that one. So the interior is exactly the same for all covers. Okay, so you don't have to feel like you got to look for something else. Okay. All righty. Well, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. I know I'm always like plugging away, but hey, I'm using what God gave me to help you in order to keep me alive and moving. Okay. That's what we're doing. Everyone is trying to move ahead. You're trying to move ahead with the math. I have the ability to break some of those concepts down and to teach you the little nooks and crannies for you to still get the full credit of that. Let's go. All right. Okay. Any questions? You're going to replay my February 5th video? Have fun with that, Michael. Yes. I know. The soft-spoken, like, hi, I'm just talking to myself type of video. But hey, that's what we do, you know? Will something like this be on the ACT? Yeah. Dividing polynomials? Yeah, that will definitely be on the ACT. And I'm glad that you're taking the ACT. SATs is great, you know, but if I'm telling you, ACT is more directed on what you're learning and how you're learning it in class. Whereas the SAT, it will take what you're learning in class and have you think outside the box. So I'm a huge fan with the ACT. And if you are a person that English is a second language, I think the ACT would be best for you. Okay? So hopefully they do not get rid of that. All right. Hello, Lisa. How are you? It's been a minute. Okay. Good. All right. So, all right. Any other questions? Did I skip over anyone? Good. I'm okay. I'm okay. There was a couple times I wasn't too sure. But I'm okay now. It's just tiring. All right. All right. So, if there isn't any questions, did I skip any questions? Did I cover? Yes. Did I skip anyone? Thank you so much for the follows, guys, and the likes. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah. Oh, okay. I don't think I skipped anyone's question. But the live will be on my YouTube channel. Just give me probably, I hate to say it, 3 hours. I have to think of a better system, how to download and upload and all this other stuff and be able to shrink and close on demand. But I'll figure it out. One day it will be smooth sailing. But right now, it's not so much the presentation. It's more so, are you guys understanding and getting the knowledge? Everything else, I'll figure it out. Alrighty. So I'm going to go. If you want to go to my friend at Impact Math 19, if you're still like, you know what, I need more math in my life, go ahead and hop on her live. And, oh, thank you. I appreciate that, JV. I really do. I was like, anything that I can share, I will share. All right. And I am thinking about doing a, my own curriculum, but I'm still putting the pieces together. I'm trying to get a curriculum for people that are thinking about going to community college and just need that freshening up, that refresher before they go. So that's going to be my next thing that I'm going to be kind of working on and see if that is something. At one live, I had 5 people say, yeah, that would be awesome. But I need more people to say yes in order for me to start putting on that. Do it on YouTube. I was thinking about doing it on YouTube. I'm not sure if I want to do it on TikTok because then you got, I don't know. I'm still planning that out, but it is going to happen for the summer to get people ready if they want to take classes, say, in the fall. So I really want to do that. You're in? Okay, awesome. Yeah, so I'm really thinking about doing that. I'm thinking about starting it June 1st, to be honest with you. I know it's May 10th. This is how my brain goes. Hey, I don't sleep, so I might as well do something. All right. So yeah, so I'm thinking about it. All right, so awesome. All right, guys. Well, have a lovely day. Thank you so much. I know you're trying to get me up to 20. If we can, there's like 33 of us here. If we can do a mad tap to get to like 20K, I would greatly appreciate that. Like that would be amazing. Or 34 of us. If we all could just do a mad tap. I appreciate that. Perfect. All right, thank you so much, guys. Like, that is perfectly fine. That's awesome. Thank you. All right. Well, have a great day. And don't forget, go to my YouTube channel. Give me about 3 hours and I can have today's session up and ready for you guys. And then you have a great weekend. I will be here live tomorrow night at 8:30. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do, if it was going to be multiplying polynomials or if it was going to be more geometric, so I can help some people with their geometry tests. So I'm still planning that out. All right, so I will see you at 8:30 tomorrow night if you're going to be around. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can get all the replays. All right, take care. Bye now. Bye, Michael. Take care, everyone.